Namaste. Once again, I welcome you all scholars, stakeholders of Ayurveda who are interested to know about the Rasastra for many reasons. One, to understand the subject, another to answer the queries, third one, to answer the false propaganda about the mercurial preparation or the herbal mineral metallic preparations of Ayurveda. Many causes are there on the basis of which I invite attention of every stakeholder of Ayurveda on these points which we are interacting. Yesterday, I tried to put before you a phenomenon that the multiple products of the Parad and the Gandhak, in other words, mercury and the sulfur, which are different in their therapeutic purposes, and they are different in their therapeutic purposes because their preparatory methods, manufacturing technologies are different. So the products are different, namely Kajjali, Parpati, Rasa-Parpati, Rasa-Pottli Rasa-Sindoor. Today also, I am trying to emphasize these four, specifically the technology, in a greater way, on a larger canvas in comparison of the yesterday for next couple of minutes. And finally, the part third will be some very good research scientific papers which are establishing the phenomenon, the facts, the evidence, what the world is saying us to produce before the community, all that. Means, in other words, as I quoted yesterday, कि our Rasacharyas are not scientists, but the super scientists, specifically the physicochemical scientists. And in the way they developed all these therapeutic different products of the same ingredient, that is really amazing. And therefore, we are discussing their concept because see, in their writing pattern of those days, they have not described very much. They have just put some salient features, presuming that all the scholars who are going through these studies are very visionary, having all wisdom to understand, and in the study of the Gurukul Paddhati and the practical demonstrations, the observational therapeutics, they are going on well, and many things have not been written or explained. But we are trying to correlate with all that. And friends, today, with my almost humbleness, I submit before you that my little bit qualification to equate the science with the great super science of the Rasastra, of the present day core science, is that I am a Bachelor of Science from University of Allahabad, credited in the time of Britishers as Oxford of the East. Nowadays it is the Central University. That little bit knowledge of mine, what my teachers gave there in the BSc degree of myself, what I try to study, and with this graduation knowledge of the Ayurveda and the BAMS and the being a student of the Rasastra and the Vasiskalpana till today, I'm trying to just correlate something up to my best capabilities. I'm not claiming that what I'm talking that is the absolute truth. I'm not saying that what I'm saying that is absolutely wrong. This is your vision that you will may add here something more for its better understanding, or you may deny it. No, it is not possible. Finally, okay, we will debate and we will discuss and come to a conclusion on the basis of facts, not on the basis of the any kind of the prejudices of any kind of the prejudices, which may vary on a lot of accounts and the criterias, right from the no, we are the super visionary and the Indian culture and the Indian Sanskriti and everything is unquestionable, or the what is going on in the science, that is rubbish, and what is written in the Sanskrit, that is also of only the writing pattern, all these things. No, only we will talk about the evidence, and that evidence which is admissible on that time, back 1000 year and the present time. So let us start. Kajjali, Rasa-Parpati, Rasa-Pottli Rasa-Sindoor. The science involved there and the different products produced there is really very interesting. If you go through a very simple science, what we are studying into the graduate level, and go to the village publication, the name of the book is the Inorganic Chemistry, or the 36 volumes of the sulfur only, then one can visualize what is the concept they had in their in the mind and how they are producing all these things. I do believe every one of us who is doing the BMS or the PG scholars have understanding of the science on the level what I am talking. I am not core scientist and having doctorate in the science or the part of any IIT and IT or the institutes of related to the science, but a very beginner student in the science. Just I am inviting your attention on the some facts. Remember two things only: the laws of heat transmission, laws of the thermodynamics, where you have studied heat of combustion, heat of formation of the compound, and the energy levels of the entropy from periphery to the center, from center to the periphery. And then come to the bonds, which are responsible for making formulations. And I do believe you are now having in your mind the ionic bonds, the covalent bonds, and the coordinate bonds. Yes, the ionic bonds are what? Where the actual transfer of the electrons between two elements are going on and a substance is formed, a product is formed, which is stable. It's a generalized statement. It's a sustainable. It maintains its structure. And it acts in a different way, because here we are concentrating on the human metabolism. In comparison of others, whether there is a not a ionic bond, there is the only coordinate bond, which is very superficial on the periphery. That is just on the level of the adsorption. And the color has been different of the product. And that will have the different PKPD in the human body in presence of some other things, other factors which are responsible for the PKPD, not the things. I should use the word factors. Then the covalent bonds, where there is a sharing of the electrons of the outer sphere. I do believe you are remembering the electronic configuration, the SPDF phenomenon, how much electrons may be in the S orbit, P orbit, D orbit, F orbit, and how these things are happening. And of course, there is a need of energy. There is something required in the kilocalorie joule. So when you are proceeding from Kajjali to the Rasa-Sindoor, and the substance are the only two, the mercury and the sulfur. And we are making all possibilities to get a new compound. Here originally we have a liquid substance, whitish in color, and a substance, an element which is solid and yellow in color. We are applying different technologies there, and then we are getting a substance at the normal temperature range and the normal trituration pressures. Then we are getting Kajjali, and we have test for the Kajjali, the completion test, rubbing on the Kajjali here and the seeing on the sunlight, and there should be no shining particle and the black color, right? Why there should not be any shining particle? Because our Rasacharyas wish to ensure that there is no free mercury element. Every mercury molecule should be surrounded by the sulfur, but not in the way which is there, just separate it from the Kajjali. Not in the way where it has been, we have prepared an HGS in the manufacturing methods of the Kubi-Pakarasan, and we have prepared the Rasa-Sindoor. See the whole business of at least 8 hours. And then, if there is a multiplication of the sulfur, samguna, dviguna, chaturguna, sadguna, and the duration of the longevity of the temperature ranges, sure we are getting the HGS, the main component, the main substance. But if it is the sadguna balijarit, then there is a surrounding layers of the polysulfides with the stable HGS. This HGS compound, in their original and the true structure, is not there in Kajjali. Yes, it has improved. Believe it. What I am talking, what I am putting before you, that is on the basis of the evidences and the laboratory findings. That I shall talk about the next session, the last session. Then come to the Parpati, and once again see here the whole technology and try to understand. Our Rasacharyas had not permitted a temperature level exceeding from the 120 degrees centigrade. And remember the melting point of the sulfur. Here in the process of the Kajjali, there is just trituration and you are getting a black color substance. And you go to the chemical findings, it is not completely HGS. It is in the process of being HGS. Then come to the Rasa-Parpati. Here, the sulfur is melted. Mercury has lost its liquid character converted itself into a solid form and little bits all its characters physically. And then in this melted sulfur, it is embodied. And they ensured by the making of its manufacturing technology that there must be immediate cooling. That's why there is an arrangement of substances which absorb heat very fast and making that malted material a solid. That structures when we examine in the laboratory, that is also near about HES. But what is the difference from Kajjali to this Rasa-Parpati? That is the exposure of the energy, the heat of combustion, heat of formation of the product, and remember those bonds, ionic bonds, covalent bonds, coordinate bonds. Which bond was there in Kajjali? Which bond is there in Rasa-Sindoor? And which bond is here in the Rasa-Parpati? Make a project, do the study, and we did it. So, here, once again I repeat, the whole technology of the Rasa-Parpati is based to immediate cooling for the solidification of that molten material. And whatever things available to serve this purpose, our Rasacharya has applied that. And certainly they can't put that molted material into that heat absorbing material for the cooling purpose, because then the procurement is the different, difficult, not impossible. That is totally contaminated. Therefore, they have a separating layer. And that separating layer is the Kajjali Patra or the Butter Patra or the anything which is having a larger surface area and which may be folded easily, because here is the compression with that particular cooling substance, coolant, and from upper side and the below side, both sides, to make that particular size purport, particular structure flake purport. And that's the Rasa-Parpati. Have you found anywhere in the administration that this purport is being administered to this flake shape is being administered to the any person? No. It is the fine powder made, and that powder is in the black color, never in the red color as the Rasa-Sindoor. If we that collected from the bottom of the neck contrast Rasa-Sindoor, and when we triturate that substance, that is red in color. But here if you triturate the Parpati, that will be the black in color. Why so? What are the fundamentals which are making different here? The scientific reasons, the rational reasons. That is the exposure of the heat, amount of the calorie available there, that is the heat of combustion, that is the heat of formation of a compound. That makes the difference. That's making the difference there. And that particular is servicing the different therapeutic purpose. Once again, I'm just adding one more. That is the Rasa-Pottli. What is specific there? You have made Pottli. Why the Kajjali? Sulfur is there. And again, we are keeping it on the sulfur bed. And we are controlling the heat with a lot of insulating layers specifically the sand, as per their wisdom, super wisdom, they don't have nowadays all the developed technology what we have. But in that period, in that time, in the available things in the nature, what they did? They prepare a bed, a heating device which may provide heat up to the level of 1000 degree or 800 degrees centigrade. But on the iron pan, they have a 2-inch thick layer of the sand. That is one layer which is controlling the temperature and passing the temperature which is required there. Now just I said, please read and help me for the developing a better explanation which may together provide to the world. Certainly I am not claiming what I am thinking that is the right and I am the master of the field. No, I am just a small student of the field. And I request you for your all expertise, for input. See alpha sulfur, characters of the beta sulfur, characters of the gamma sulfur, the different colors of the sulfur melted at the level of 120 degrees centigrade, at the 220 degrees centigrade, at the 300 centigrade, at the 350 degrees centigrade, at the 400 degrees centigrade. Go through the all characteristic features of the sulfur. On the sulfur, there are availability of the 36 volume of the series on the sulfur, on the properties of the sulfur, my dear friends. Go through those. Sulfur Sangita in our terminology, right? And see how they, once again, they means Rasacharyas of that time, 1500 years ago. They developed this particular product by knowing this knowledge of the sulfur. At this level of the temperature of the 400 degrees centigrade and the 350 centigrade, the melted sulfur will be of the red color. Whereas lower than this, it may be the yellow, and higher than this, it may be the some white. Or more than that, it is a black. So they arranged they ensured a particular temperature range and the supply of a particular kilocalories for that is the heat of combustion and the heat of the formation of a product. Formation, heat required for the formation of a product. And here the product is the Rasa-Pottli. And that Rasa-Pottli, yes, on a very, very larger view, that is also nearer to the Aegeus and having different therapeutic properties. Now come finally to the Rasa-Sindoor, which I discussed with the Kajjali, and I repeat it again here for the just 2-3 minutes. Forget about the furnaces, what we are using nowadays. Go through the whole arrangement of the Baluka Yantra and see the supply material to produce the heat, Angar, Chagad, in the different places, in the different things and the different, not the here the Badar, wood. Chagad is used mainly for the put, never in the preparation of the kupipak or in the preparation of the Rasa-Parpati or the Rasa-Pottli. We use here wood fire, but a different variety of the wood. And that variety of the wood is ensuring a temperature range. And see this change of the flame as per the temperature. Yellow color flame will be up to the 350, then the red color flame of that wood will be the up to the 600 700 degrees centigrade. Then white is that is the 1000 degrees centigrade, and the pure yellow is white is that is the 1400 degrees centigrade. All that, and that is the color of the flame, and which is once again with a very good insulating system of the baluka yantra with the sand, and then the whole kupi structure, the kapad mitti of the 7 layers, to ensure that after the corking the kupi, the internal pressure and the volume that kupi may bear, and you can get a product in the neck of the water. It is really very interesting. I love to interact with you all about all these things. But I need hours and hours, and you need also hours and hours to discuss all these things. The whole technology of the cookie pub. It may be a whole 1 week business if 1.5 hours daily to understand the basics. The same may be for the Rasa-Parpati. Parallelly, if you go to the pharmaceutical engineering, all the fundamentals of the pharmaceutical engineering which are available. See in the Remington clinical practice of the pharmacy, or tally with the Lapemier, and the instrumentation which is used in the pharmaceuticals to produce a product which is a therapeutic purpose. And that is the book Pharmaceutical Engineering. And try to get it. The correlation of the Dola Yantra, Patan Yantra, Vidyadhar Yantra, and the Baluka Yantra, and the many yantras. It is a different title and the whole different idea. Establishing our supremacy and supremacy of the knowledge as per that period. Fine. Now once again I am coming to the Kupipak. And here if you discuss the whole Kupipak arrangements, here at every step there is a science. Trinakant Pariksha on the sand, open sand on the Baluka Yantra, to ensure that particular temperature range where Trina is burning, the coin test, the fume flame, many things. And there we are getting a product that is also HGS, and by rubbing that is of the red color. So here cinnabar is also of the red color. But in the cinnabar, once again there is a changes, alpha cinnabar, beta cinnabar, gamma cinnabar, and their structural arrangement, their hexagonal, polygonal, rhomboidal, many things. If you go to the Rutley textbook of the metallurgy and the books of the mineralogy, try to find out some correlation, but our orientation is different. Yes, I have to accept it. After doing BMS, we all prefer to be a clinician. And we think that we are clinician. And we are clinician. But when you are coming to the specialty, all the notified by the NCISM, I'm not talking about the CCIM which established one time 22 specialties, then the withdrawal period, and then the addition period of some specialties. Rasa Special Club now was separated and then once again amalgamated. So what are the super specialties notified and there by the NCISM? Then our spirit of the being Ayurvedic physician is not permitting the time to study to the book of metallurgy or the book of the mineralogy or book of the chemistry, which is the job of a researcher. But when you are sitting in your clinic as an Ayurvedic physician, and when you are prescribing these drugs, people may ask you, where is the evidence of the safety? Where is the evidence of the efficacy? And of course, where is the evidence of the quality? And all these are very effective. I remember my PG days. Still, I am a student. I am happy to announce that I am not professor, but I am a student learning the rasas and the basis kalpana. Of course, in due course of time, due to experience, government is giving me salary of professor. Fine, I do agree. But when I was a PG scholar in this premises of the Banaras University, I remember a company of Ayurvedic manufacturers from Bombay visited our departments in the search of some findings about the Parpati. And the same time, that time means 1994 to 1997, my PG days officially, as a PG scholar, I mean to say officially means student. At that time, I am PG student and today I am a professor student. So when I was PG student, Himalayan approached our department because their Jerry Fort got some objection because in the Jerry Fort they were adding some Makardhwaj. And Jerry Fort minus Makardhwaj was not so effective. I do remember they visited our department. And one company from the Bombay, I forgetting the name, they visited us for the Parpati. And they tried to get our all theses of that time available in the 1994 about the scientific studies of the Rasa-Parpati and the Panchamrit Parpati and the rasa-sinduri and the Makardhwaj. At that time, we don't have very good findings and the very good products, but you can credit the Banaras University and the specifically late Professor Damodar Joshi sir and his two associates of that time, my guide of the MD Ayurveda and the PhD late Professor S.K. Dixit sir and Professor C.V. Jha. They started on the influence of the Professor D. Joshi. They started application of science in the rasas. They collaborated. Professor D. Joshi specifically collaborated with the Department of Metallurgy of that time, Department of Pathology, Department of Pharmacology, Department of Material Science to explore the mystery of the Rasa-Parpati and the rasa-sinduri or the Swarna Bhasma, the Banga Bhasma or the Nag Bhasma. And I remember Professor Bhanu Prakash, who is also late, and he was my co-guide in my PG, and in now is retired Professor K.K. Narang from the Department of Applied Chemistry of the then IIT BHU. They all contributed. Professor Narang was visiting every time when I was preparing Nakshik Bus. And he was seeing all the process, and they said it is the sulfide, then it may be the polysulfide, and then all these he was trying to contribute. And Professor Bhanu Prakash really contributed. And his write-up use of metals in Ayurveda, now you can get on the net in the some $35, but it is available free also. And it is published into the Indian Journal of Philosophical Sciences or Indian Journal of some like that. Sorry, I'm forgetting it. But the write-up of Professor Bhanu Prakash is really very worthy, and I have that. I may provide you free of cost also, the PDF file. But you just search, you just Google use of metals by the Professor Bhanu Prakash, you will get this paper. So this collaboration with the science and the explanation of the science in the making of from the Kajjali to the rasa-sinduri is really very important. And we can establish before the scientific community, you see, here is the systematic scientific approach of Rasacharyas and the Ayurvedists, which is making a difference of the same ingredients with the multiple proportion Paradgandha, from Samgun to Sadgun, from Kajjali to the rasa-sinduri. Here is the science. Today, just Ayurveda Network suggested me that one episode should be of the 30 minutes. So once again I am crossing 5 minutes. It is 40 minutes. So Just I take break, and finally, in the next session, the part third, I shall be with you with the all recent publications of the last 20 years, starting from 2009, the preparation and the characteristics of the Rasa-Sindoor, to the 2022, where we have established with all leading scientific institutions of country India, leading scientific institutions who established that super science of the 5th AD, of the 8th AD, of the Rasacharya from Kajjali to Rasa. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We will meet in the next session. Thank you.